Good morning. You're listening to Caregiver Crossing, a podcast brought to you by Joy's House and presented in partnership with Cardon and Associates. We are so blessed and thrilled that you're here. Caregiver Crossing is a podcast created just for you, the caregiver. I'm Tina McIntosh.
I'm her friend, Terry Lynn Stacy from Hancock County.
That's Hancock County, but it came across as Hand County, which I don't know where that is. Anyway, and in you, the other one.
I am Candace Malone Hadabah. There you go. There you go.
Excellent.
Everyone
knows. I can tell, for those of you who used to listen to us when we were Caregiver Crossing, the radio program, this is how it went every week for an entire hour. And Candace is back, people. She's back, and this is how it's going to go from now on. We are a wonderful, educated, I was going to try and think of another good word, but really just hot mess is what comes to mind. But I promise you can trust us. And we are here today, actually, to talk about something that is called Caregiver Bill of Rights. And I think, Candace, I have to stop for a second and say, is this a real thing? Or is this just something that we're hoping will happen? Like, is this truly something that's going to go into effect?
No.
Okay.
No. So, yeah, Tina was kind of hyped there while we were prepping up to start the show. No, I think this is just more of caregivers saying, even though I'm a caregiver, I should have the right to fill in the blank with 10 of these points here.
Okay. I'm on board now. I understand your words differently than I did before. I thought this was some kind of, slick piece of paper that was going to go across somebody's desk to sign. And that was me mocking the desk and the people signing. I don't know. And then I thought this was something that people were going to have to stand behind. Like everybody had to do this. I didn't understand how that was true. So hold please. This is actually something that if caregivers could come up with their own, I wish this was the case, these would be wishes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So you can find this on caring.com and it's called Caregiver Bill of Rights. In Caregiver Crossing world, I'm going to call this things we wish as caregivers. And I can lean into that a lot. Is that okay? Are we comfortable with that?
I'm down.
All right. Well, here I'm not going in order. I'm going to tell you the one that caught my attention was the right to expect my close circle of friends and family to understand my caregiving role and to support me in any way they can. You can understand why I was like, how is that enforced? And why does everybody have to understand your role? I get it now. A caregiver would say, I just wish everybody understood, right? And would support me. And so let's talk about that because it's really easy to support somebody when it's a short-lived thing. So it's easy when, I don't know, Candace, you're having a surgery and I know for 48 hours you're going to need something and maybe I bring you dinner after a couple of days. That's a pretty easy thing to show up for. Mm-hmm. With caregivers, this can be, I can't remember what the average is nowadays for caregiving, but this can be 2 years. It can be 20 years, right?
Yeah.
It's hard for people to keep showing up. So let's talk about this a little bit. Why would that statement of, I have the right to expect my close circle of friends and family to understand my caregiving role and support me in any way they can? Why would that be important?
I'm going to give that to Terry as I Google the average length of caregiving.
Ooh, that's a good idea. If I'm a caregiver saying, you as my friend Terry, I expect you to understand my caregiving role and support me in any way you can. How do you feel about that as my friend?
I feel that that's right. I feel like that you have the right to expect me to respect you, right? That's what you're saying.
It is, but so now what if I'm caregiving for 16 years? So it's 16 years, enough about you. Let's talk about me.
Yeah.
I need food. I need gift cards. I need you to listen to all of my woes. And I need you to maybe watch my husband every Thursday for the next 20 years.
I just don't know that you can expect that. I don't know that you can expect
that's my
that
point.
Like a law. Yeah. And you're very right about that. I know we would want that, but to expect it and to hate our friends that don't jump on the bandwagon.
Hey, nobody said hate, Terry. Nobody said hate. That's really strong. Nobody said that.
The average length of caregiving is about 5 years.
That's a long time, Candace. 5 years. Do you know how many humans are born in 5 years' time?
Oh, God. A lot of them. A lot of little...
Hey, what is wrong with you ladies today? I thought I was the bitter one today. Is it contagious?
No. I don't know. Let's do another one.
No. Hold on. Because I think this is important.
Okay.
First of all, I think it's important that people realize your friends don't have to understand everything about your life. So I'm going against the article. Your friends don't have to understand everything about your life, nor do they have to support everything. Friends relationships come and go in this world. They just come and go. It's
Right.
okay. It's just okay. It doesn't make it any less special. It doesn't make your memories any less beautiful unless you let it. Friends come and go. And
They
so
do.
I actually don't agree with this one. I'm going to stand my ground. Don't
And
agree.
It's
I think
okay.
that's leads to caregiver depression. I know we've talked about that. Terry and I were talking with Julie Cagle a few weeks ago, and she was saying that suicidal ideations with caregivers are increasing, probably
Yeah.
for this reason exactly. So that's why it's so
Interesting.
important to seek out the Joyce Houses of this world, to find community and support wherever you can. Create a new
All
friend
right.
circle.
That is a great point. And I've got another point for you then off of this article that you can find on caring.com. And that is the right to easily find resources that will help me in my caregiving journey. So I want to sit there for a minute. The right to easily find resources that will help me in my caregiving journey. Years ago, we brought together at Joy's House, this was before the pandemic actually, brought together a lot of organizations in greater Indianapolis in Indiana that said, hey, we do something for caregivers. We brought us all together. We were part of that and said, bring whatever you have for caregivers to the table. And we all sat at that table like, I got a brochure. I give really good hugs. I'm a great listener. We didn't have anything tangible. And so we started talking as a group about what is it that we need to do as a community of people who care about caregivers and create and be innovative with. And so I'm just going to say a couple quick things and then I'll move on. This year, Joy's House is launching 4 lines of business for caregivers. 2 of them are ones we already had. Caregiver Crossing. Hi, here we are. Got big news coming about Caregiver Crossing soon, but we're not going to tell you today. And our care kits, which are binders filled with template information that you can get by emailing candace@joyshouse.org. candace@joyshouse.org. Stop by either of our locations, Broad Ripple or Unity, and we can hook you up there too. But they are wonderful binders filled with template information for caregivers to help you stay organized and be the best version of yourself as a caregiver. We also are launching an end-of-life doula program that we'll talk about another day, but just like birthing doulas, but for end of life, and Caregiver Way, which is a digital ecosystem, blah, 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 because those are big words. It is an online community for caregivers where you can find information that's been vetted by professionals and experienced caregivers, telling you how to do things. It might be the best way to serve the meal to your loved one, or to help them bathe, or to take care of yourself. God forbid you take care of yourself. So we are doing a lot at Joy's House in the state of Indiana. There are a lot of changes coming this year that have to do with caregiving as well. I will stop talking now, but I think that one about being able to find resources is great. And in our state, we are getting ready to do some serious stuff. And at Joy's House, just watch out. It's good things. So, all right, enough about that one. Who has another number?
Well, we're talking about the Caregiver Bill of Rights. This is not a legal document of any sorts, but there is some interesting, as we've been talking about. There's 10 of them. And one of them is the right to not take on the financial burden of caregiving all by myself. This was just released from the Alzheimer's Association today, talking about the numbers between 2021 and 2022. The number of caregivers here in the state of Indiana, we're staying steady at 216,000 caregivers right now in the state of Indiana. The number of hours spent providing unpaid care grew from 276 million in 2021 to 321 million last year. It's a 16% increase. And look, the number just keeps growing. The number of caregivers seems to stay pretty steady, but the number financially, 16% in 1 year. It's grown. So the right to not take on the financial burden of caregiving all by myself. I should not have to put my financial future at risk to care for my loved one today. So what do we do?
I'm just going to say truth.
What is the answer to that?
It's a truth.
Because we're not the best at planning for and saving for the end of life. Whether that's 5 years or 20 years, whatever the care or end of life looks like for us, I don't think we are the best at planning for it.
No, I think because we think we're invincible. We don't ever think it's going to happen to us. It happens to that guy. And I'm not one of them, whoever them are. But we do think that way. You're right. We don't plan for that. All right, there are 3 of us on the call. Either of you have long-term care insurance?
No.
No, I'm too young, but I have looked into it.
Oh,
Well,
you're too
I
young.
may
Good
not
for
be too
you.
young at this point. I looked into it when I was younger because I've been in this industry for almost 20 years now, and I know that that's important. But
It is important.
don't get me on the soapbox of healthcare and all of that stuff in our country. But I do not think it's fair that long-term care insurance, you can't get it until you're what, 50 or something. I'm going to look at that now. Please
I
hold.
think it's
It
younger
is.
than
I
that, but
believe
like
it
for
is.
me, I've had
I do
breast cancer
too.
twice. I can't get it for a while until I'm, have a clean bill of health for a while. But it's expensive. And I think that is the biggest deterrent for a lot of people. It's very, very expensive. Terry, did you have a thought on that? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Just that, you know what? No, I mean, I don't know what else somebody that is under 50 can do when it comes to long-term healthcare. I mean, it's so screwed up. Everything in our healthcare industry is so screwed up right now, and has been
It's a
for
little
quite some
messy.
time.
Yeah.
It is a
Well,
little
and
messy.
Candace has a
Um,
number.
I
Candace,
do. You can purchase a policy at 40, but people recommend that you wait until 60.
stop
Yeah, well, how
it.
much is it? Yeah,
Yeah.
and how much is it? How
And
much
it's
is
expensive.
long-term care
Yeah.
expensive when you're 40 years old? You're not thinking, you're 40 years old, you're not thinking, well, look, gee, I'd like to have, pay an extra bundle of money for long-term care right now. I'm 40.
No, let's be
I'm
honest.
living life.
You're thinking my hips are starting to hurt and I need to go pick up my trifocals. That's what you're thinking
Yeah,
when you turn
yeah.
40.
Or
You're not thinking
that
about
you
the
are.
long-term
Or
stuff.
no, you're thinking of, listen, I'd like to have a facelift at 40. That's what you're
Mm,
thinking. You're not thinking, I'm gonna
don't do
possibly
it.
need long-term care. Oh no, well, I'm way
Yeah,
over
don't
that.
do the
But
facelift. Don't do it.
no,
Um,
but
Understood.
when
And
you're
I
40, that's
agree
what you're
with you.
thinking.
That's one of the things at Joy's house that we have always thought about is exactly this point about not having to take on the financial burden of caregiving all by yourself because it's not fair to the caregivers. And fair is a weird word. We've used it twice. But we want caregivers to realize they've got to be taking care of themselves too. I think we probably have time for one more of these. And there was one that caught my attention. I know what it is. Number 5 on this list on caring.com about the Caregiver's Bill of Rights is the right to expect that my loved one's medical advisors and healthcare professionals will recognize my critical role as part of the primary and long-term care team. I want to shout that from the mountaintop. I am currently a caregiver for my dad, and they will call me. He lives in a long-term care facility. They will call me about some ridiculous stuff, and I'm okay with it. Like, call me about anything. And then the big things lately, they haven't been calling me. And it's like, you either recognize me. I get that I'm his power of attorney, but he's of sound mind. You either recognize me as someone who should have information about his mental and physical health and care, or you don't. And it's like, sometimes I feel like it's a pick and choose, and that's not cool. Anybody
No,
else want to join me on a rant? Because I can keep going.
No,
I'm done.
I don't really have experience with that, but I think Tina, I think more people find themselves in your situation where mom or dad or whoever still has a sound mind, but maybe stubborn or confused by the medical jargon and probably could use a second set of ears, and they don't get that. And I think it puts that person in danger in some ways.
Now, when I'm in the office, with my dad in this case, as an example, Dad, if you're listening, love you to pieces. I don't want the doctor looking at me and talking to me. I want you to recognize my dad as the patient, and I'm there as an extra set of ears, and I'm going to stay quiet until he says something that I don't see the same way he does or I know is not true. Then I'm going to chime in. But the whole, doctors will say that all the time. Well, I'm so sorry I can't talk with you. Oh, okay. All right. How about, can you listen? Because we can go down that route too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I love this one. So now I'm on board with this Bill of Rights. I am very confused today.
Yes.
Oh boy. All right. There are more. If you want to look at them, go to caring.com. It is the Caregiver Bill of Rights. These are really great, actually. I'm really pleased that they're doing this. And if nothing else, I don't have to agree with all of them, but it sure does start a good conversation. And so I hope you've taken
Yeah.
something away from that today. All right. Candace, why don't you take us into our close? And I'm just glad everybody's here. I hope they come back next week.
Yep. See you next week. But before we go, we want to thank our sponsor, Cardon and Associates. With 20 communities owned, operated, and managed in the Midwest and more than 40 years of senior living experience, Cardone Associates provides residents with the best living options and personalized care. All right, that's it for us this week. Until next time, take good care of each other.